Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Greetings to you both near and far. Those of you who are watching this from I Am Church, close the door, please. Those of you who are watching from I Am Church, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And for those of you who are abroad, thank you as well. Those who are outside of the ministry connection, I appreciate you. So tonight we're going to continue week 3. I'm excited about it. Week 3, we are in our financial makeover 2022. Week 3, I said week 2 it is. Week 2 it is. So we are in week 2, my friends. Week number 2. And so we're going to be talking about budgeting tonight. We're going to give you some budgeting tips. I'm Elder Miles Cox. I'll be teaching this class over the coming weeks. So I have a few items for you too that you may want to consider as we go into the budgeting class and as we go forward. It's called a budget planner. I picked it up at Walmart for about, I think it was like $6, $5 or $6, $5.97 if I'm not mistaken. That's one of them, and it has like your monthly spending in it. It has miscellaneous, savings, housing, personal, entertainment, transportation, health, children, clothes, food, pets, giving. Has several categories, and it has a spending summary. So budget planner is one of them. I'll place this down here for my own personal use. And we have another monthly budget planner. The name of this one is Invest in Yourself. Invest in Yourself. It's a 12-month budget planner. You know, it has all kind of cool stickers for different things, you know, as you allot your time for different things, family time, make today great, different dollar signs for different things. It has a savings tracker separately, and it also has, as I turn the page, each month has its own section where you can track your expenses. So just another tool as we get financially disciplined over the next coming 12 months, progressively so as we go through each month, and we're just hoping to learn together how to establish financial discipline in our lives, financial progress in our lives, and apply some of these financial tools and tips that's going to really help us to grow in our own personal lives. So I praise God for just the opportunity to be here. I'm really, truly grateful. So we're going to get started. And the first thing we're going to talk about is budgeting tips. Now, I got a couple of quotes for you. One of them says, a budget is people telling their money where to go instead of wondering where it went. You know, if you're not careful, you can just, you know, you see that you have X number of dollars in your account, and you can just go out and say, well, I desire to get this. I need a new pair of shoes. I need a new hat. I need X and Y, Z. Oh, I feel like eating at the steakhouse tonight. And the next thing you want to do is go to the seafood place. There's nothing wrong with it in itself, but if you don't discipline yourself, you will get into you could get into frivolous spending. So it's very, very good to have a healthy budget that you can use to guide and help spend your resources. I'm trying to track this on the page, but I couldn't find it. I used a term last week, a phrase called flying turkeys, and that means that even a turkey can fly in a tornado. It says people were running around buying things they couldn't afford and money they didn't have to impress people they don't even like. That's called status. When you're more worried about how you look in somebody else's eye than how your bank account looks in private. So that's that analogy. And you have to make your money behave and have a written plan to whip your money into shape and to tame your spending habits. So how to make a personal budget in 6 steps. Here we go. A step-by-step guide I'm going to be giving you to creating a budget. So what does a budget do? And what is a budget? Can't find this thing. So a budget is a written monthly financial planning tool that allows you to plan how much you will spend or even save each month. It also allows you to track your spending habits. Now, why do we need to track our spending habits? Because if we take an honest look at our spending habits, what we'll discover is, you know, most banks you can get a statement and you can look at it and even there's apps on your bank where you can actually set up your own budget. But it'll show that you went to, Jamba Juice 30 times, Robux 30 times, or Longhorn Steakhouse, Red Lobster, whatever your favorite, place to eat out, or you went to the movies 15 times out of 30 days last month. It's designed to help keep you disciplined with your finances, so you understand, wow, the reason I don't have money at the end of the month, or even I'm in a deficit at the beginning of the next month, is I overindulged. I overtreated myself. And I splurged on some things I could have just sat at home, bought my own popcorn, and ordered a movie for $2.99. You could have saved gas. You could have saved, what's the movie now? $8 a piece if you go to the matinee. And you could have saved all those resources. It just pays to get into that discipline. So that's what a budget is. It's really a spending plan to help you get your discipline with your finances on track, so you'll know where each dollar is going. And that's very, very important. Amen. Because you can look up and then next thing you know, what happened to all the dollars? And if you go back and read your bank statement and your debit card and your credit card, you can understand, hey, this is where it went. So though making a budget may not sound the most exciting activity, and for some, it's downright scary. When I first heard of the word budget, I'm thinking, why do I need a budget? I know how to keep from spending. I know what to spend on. But what budgeting does, it gives you a snapshot of the money you are bringing in. And then you lining up your expenses that you have. Almost everybody has some type of payment on housing, whether it be a townhome or a traditional family home, or even an apartment or a condominium. So shelter or your home situation, and then everybody eats. Everybody needs food. Even when you're fasting, you need food. So food, a place to live, something to drive to get to place, or if someone's taking you, you're going to have to contribute occasionally with gas. And then if you have a car of your own, you're going to need maintenance fees, insurance, fuel, all of those things. If you put that thing down as a budget, when there's a need for something that arises, say you have a blown out tire, then the money that you save by being disciplined in budgeting, you're able to go and get that tire and not have to go to, Fred's Junkyard and get a spare tire. So you have a tire to be able to use on your car. So that's just another reason for a good budget. So it's very important to keep your financial house in order. If you keep your financial house in order, you'll find, and I've found personally, that the more resources that come in, you're not so overexcited about, man, let me go out and buy that thing that I didn't have before. Because if you're looking what you owe to the creditors or whatever, and also to the people or the bank as a mortgage or a landlord, if you're renting or whatever, if you have in mind those resources or those allocations for your money, then when more money comes in, you can see then that, okay, if I stick to this budget, I'm only going to spend this, and this for this month. And at the end of the month, I'm going to have X number of dollars left over. And then if you get a lump sum, a payment for something, a refund or something like that, your discipline puts that into a savings, and you begin to build up what we'll later talk about is your kind of like I don't want to call it a stockpile. It's like a surplus of money. There's a certain name for it. It doesn't come to me right now, but you have enough money to last you for 6 months in case of a crisis is pretty much what I'm saying. So budgets always rely on balance. There's a balance between, I say it's a three-way balance between income, how much comes into my house every month, between expenses, what are the essential things that I pay for every month. And then also you have those things like entertainment and different things like that you'll spend money on occasionally. Even if you have cable and you have internet and you have stars and you have some of the premium channels, why run out to go see a movie all the time? Of course it's good to get out, I'm not knocking that, but if you're in the habit of always going to be the first one in line to see the latest movie, you'll find that in a lot of these movie services, you can order those particular new movies. You can watch them at home for a fraction of the cost, pop your own popcorn, and sit in the comfort of your own home, and then, you know, you can enjoy that from there. And also being balanced and saving yourself money. If you spend less in one area, you can spend more in another. Save the money from a larger purchase, build for, this is what I'm talking about, rainy day fund. That's what I was looking for. The rainy day fund is essentially money that you're putting aside just in case things go south, in case there's a rainy day, or in case there's a crisis, or there's a situation where you lose your job, or your pay gets cut, or your hours get cut back. All of those situations can help you prepare for those, what we call, quote, rainy days. And if you increase in those spending habits, save more, spend less, then when it comes down to that rainy day, you have a rainy day fund that can help hold you over until, you know, you get greater resources. So ultimately, the result of your new budget will show you where your money is going, or where it's coming from, I'm sorry, how much is there, and where it all goes each month. You will be able to see clearly, okay, well, I spent, you know, $150 on takeout, on DoorDash or Uber Eats, you know, and you'll find that $150 worth of groceries will make you meals that will last a significant part of the week. Plus, you know, you don't have to worry about tipping the guy. If you want to tip yourself and put it in your own jar, you know, if you cook a good meal. And those are the kind of things that we're trying to get into the mindset that's going to help us be more financially disciplined. And financial discipline will give us a greater financial health at the end of each pay cycle. And then as we see progressively, we continue to maintain that discipline. We'll even have extra money where, you know, we can budget in maybe a trip, a vacation, because I believe everybody needs a vacation. Okay. Get away from your job, you know, go and see the Grand Canyon, go and see Las Vegas, go to the mountains, go to the Poconos, go to the California beach, go somewhere, you know, Cancun. But I say all that, do that because there is a way for you to help enjoy your life, but don't let that be such a drive that you spend up all your money and then you come back and you got to work 80 hours to put the money back. You know, it's better to always save so you have that money in advance, and so it's not a burden when you get ready to go purchase a trip or something like that, or a cruise or something. So, so I'll give you a few steps. So to create a budget that works and allows you to live in comfortability and happy life, you need to get a firm handle on what you're currently spending. It's okay if you are off. This is what this class is about. Get a firm handle on how to get back into control, discipline, and balance with your finances. You got to understand what you can afford to spend and what you cannot afford to spend. What are your priorities? Is it more important for you to go to the movies every week, you know, date night or whatever? And those things are very important for couples, and it adds a greater bonding to the life. But then you're going to have to cut back on eating out somewhere, or you may have to cut back on the utilities. You know, as you leave a room, turn off the light so you don't have a higher electric bill. Set the thermostat to a comfortable temperature instead of having it, you know, 80 degrees in the house in the middle of the night, or, you know, in the summertime having it like 60 degrees. You know, so it's really about getting yourself disciplined and even uncomfortable, because sometimes when you're creating a budget and you're saving and you're being disciplined financially, it may be a little uncomfortable at first. Why? Because we are used to just spending money like we want to spend. Nobody wants to be really restrained on spending their money. Like, if you see something, our nature is, let me just go get that. I desire that, so let me go get it. I worked hard, so I deserve it. So if you happen to be in that situation, then you should, you know, take this note and take these classes and understand, I'm trying to get to a better place with my resources. Amen. Whether it's clothes, you know, some people like to be suited and dressed and to the T, you know. I have family members, you know, one particular family member, their thing is like they get a new car, and then the first thing they want to do is put rims on it. And, you know, that was kind of exciting. It looks shiny. It looks real good. People give you props when you're riding around. Oh, man, you got a nice car. But for me, it's like, that's $1,800 usually with the tires and the rims and stuff like that. Now it's probably more. But so you're talking about, let's just say it's $2,200 that you're riding around on. And you know what happened? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking anybody. But my comparison is you take and you drive that thing around the streets of Arizona, right? Downtown Phoenix, some of the worst potholes I've seen in my life. Some of the worst roads that you can drive on in different places. The tar and the road surface is horrible. You bend up those rims, pop those tires, and then now you got to pay $700-800 just to replace one of those things, because if the rim gets bent, it can happen in any other case, but most of the time the factory-made rims are a little tougher and not as soft and everything. So just giving you, some examples. And then in my analogy, I would take that $2,200 and just put it in the bank and watch it, or either open up a certificate of deposit. We'll talk about those in the future, and put some things in what we call tax shelters. Now, a tax shelter is a place where you put your money, and the IRS can't touch it. You put it there, you leave it there, and then as you become, a senior citizen, as you retire, then you can get that money back tax-free. Now, if you decide to pull any of that money out, then there's a certain penalty that you have to pay for removing that money, because remember, once you put it in there, it's sheltered from taxes, and even if it grows, you don't have to pay taxes on it. So, just a way of getting in financial shape. So here are a few ways. You can use an old-fashioned pen and paper if that's just your thing. Write it down on a notebook, college rule, or it could be wide rule notebook. You can get them at Walmart, $50. You can get them at Target. $50, 50 cents. You can get them at Target, 50 cents, $1. You can buy them almost anywhere at the dollar store. You can get a little book and you can make your own notations and write it down if that's easier for you. Or you can do a monthly budget spreadsheet. Or you can download a budgeting app from almost all of these phone Play stores or Apple stores. Also, I have a CD. So if you'll text me, I have a CD that has a budget spreadsheet, and it's all on an Excel document. And what it does is it calculates, if you put your total income in there, and then every expense that you notate underneath in those columns, it will automatically deduct those amounts from that income number that you have, and it will give you a real number of the money that's left over without you having to go through the math and do all the subtraction. So if you want that thing, just put your email address in the comments, and then I'll send it to you. And it's a great tool. I think it's a great tool. It was developed by some military financial people. So the first thing I would do, if I were you, if you're going to start this budget, is to gather all your financial papers. Find out exactly, if you just do it automatically, ACH automatic, find out exactly what your mortgage payment is. Find out exactly what your utility payment is. If, I know back in North Carolina, it's usually pretty consistent. Here in Arizona, it really fluctuates. So you can get a snapshot of how much you've been spending on utilities. That will help you get more discipline. And, in the wintertime, closing the blinds is another way. It's just different ways. So get all your financial statements, and they will show you exactly where your money is going, right? Get your bank statements. Look at your investment accounts if you have any. Find out how much investment you have. Find out how much is growing. Find out what risk you're taking. Some of them are more volatile, they say, because it's quick gain and it's also quick loss. And some of the other funds that are more stable, less volatile, those are the ones that will grow slowly over time. Now, it may take you months and months, maybe even years for that thing to increase, but it's more likely, because the market has proven it, that this particular fund is going to grow gradually over a given period of time, and your loss rate will be much less than you put in a volatile stock, where that stock rises real quickly and you get a lot of gains. Now, that's beneficial if you get a lot of gains and you're quick to look into that account and maybe move that money and shift it around. But the thing with investing and stuff like that, you have to be really savvy about the stock market and how it works, and so you can keep an eye and you can listen to what the Dow Jones says, and you can understand how to move your money around to protect it. So a lot of times you'll need forgive me for the noise. So get your investment accounts, find out what you owe, or if your money's growing and it's not. Look at your financial advisor, talk to them about how to best utilize the money and how best to get the most out of your dollar. If you have 401k or some type of investment account and you have matching funds by your company, that's a 100% increase on your revenue. I know I did it when I was in the military. I was initially at 2%. I started saving 2% because in my mind then it was like, man, you take 2% of your money and you sending it somewhere, you don't know where it's going. Of course, it's going to they call it thrift savings plan. So you send that money to the thrift savings plan and you just let it sit there. So I found out, even though you don't get matching contribution from the military, I was able to up it to 12% at one time, and I was able to save $70,000 in about 5 years. $70,000 in about 5 years, and so that's a little over $5,500 a year, which is just in investments alone, and then I have my own regular investment accounts. My own regular savings accounts and stuff like that. So just trying to get you in the mindset of making your money healthy, making it work, and making your financial footprint balanced in all areas. Look at your recent utility bills. Find out what's happening in the months that are the highest. Yes, Arizona does essentially have a few cold snaps in the wintertime. But man, now it's been like 75 degrees in the daytime. Open the windows, turn your thermostat off, and just get a little bit of that outside heat. Then later at night, then you can turn the thermostat back on, turn it back up to a comfortable temperature, and then you can just enjoy it, the rest of the night. But find out clever ways to just shave off extra money from just going out the window, so to speak, from just slipping through your cracks and slipping through your fingers. You have to do it in constructive ways and in really clever ways. Get your W-2s and your pay stubs. Find out how much you have in taxes. Did you know that you can pay your taxes in advance in a measure? You can say you can get an accountant, project how much taxes you were going to pay based on your income, says it's consistent, and then you can take out an extra $100 and send the IRS every month. And if you've been paying over the years, that way it's easier for me to pay $100 in advance when I don't have to, than to come up with $1,200 at the end of the month as a burden, a tax burden from the IRS. So I'm just giving a little clever ways. Be mindful of those things and pay attention. Look at your pay stubs. Find out where your money is going. Your insurance. How much are you paying in insurance? And does the company have better insurance plans? How much money are you paying in your particular tax bracket? And then on this pay stub should be noted if you're taking some of that money out and watching, brother. Hey, Mr. Lee, thank you, sir, for coming and joining us. Miss Stacy is with us as well. So just look at those pay stubs. It has a wealth of information on there that will show you where your money's going, how much you're making. Hey, you may even get to the point where, like, look, you've been there for 10 years, 12 years. Hey, walk up there and ask for a new job or a new position that you tell the whoever it is that you need to earn more money. Get yourself a skill or craft or something, or take some classes that's going to help make your earning potential a little higher. Also look at your 1099s. How much money of a credit are you getting from those investments? And make that thing notated on your tax return. 1099s. Get all your credit card bills. Find out what your interest rates are. See how much you're really spending and wasting on excessive interest rates. Combine cards to get a lower interest rate. Even though at that particular point, you may max out your credit card for a minute, making your credit worthiness go down a bit. But if you're saving $50 a month, wisely, you can take that $50 a month and put it towards those credit card payments, and then you can reduce that balance. Receipts for the last 3 months. Just take a snapshot. Look at what you've spent over the last 3 months. Bank statements, look at those. If you keep receipts, look at those receipts, and just be honest and interpret with the thing, and be, just look yourself square in the face and say, hey, look, this is where my money has gone. And if there's a deficit or something like that, or there's been, especially during the Christmas holidays, man, did we spend a lot of money or what? We spend a lot of money, and it's a build up to bless those loved ones. And I get it, man. We do it. You buy presents for them, and then You look back at your bank statement and then there's a big financial hole in that. How do you combat that? That's a good question. The way to combat that is buy stuff during the year ahead of time and in advance, in increments. That way, you get the things that you need or you intend to get for that person, and you don't shop according to any kind of trends, high demand things. You have an idea of what you want to get for that loved one, and you know in advance, and you work towards that, as opposed to compulsive spending. Well, the big thing out now, you may say to yourself, is the Xbox 5, or I got to have this latest dress, or Chanel just came out with this cologne, or it's a wide variety of things that you can get caught up into by that drive and the advertisement for demand. Even Lexus, for example, December to remember, just go out there and buy you a brand new Lexus for about $45,000, $35,000 to $50,000, whatever the case may be. Those things right there give us the impulse to go out and buy things that we wouldn't normally buy. If you need a new car, by all means buy one. But if you don't need a new car, don't let one of those advertisement things draw you into that type of debt. A long time ago, I worked at Wendy's. Old-fashioned hamburgers is what we called it then. That was its original name. Now it's called Wendy's. And we had this thing called suggestive selling. The manager would always push that on us, right? So if you at the window, or if you're usually at the window, or even at the cash register on the front, a person orders a hamburger and fries and a Coke, and you say, "Ma'am, hey, sir, would you like a Frosty to go with that? Would you like a dessert to go with that? Would you like to upsize that? Would you like to supersize it?" And oh yeah. And so that way you're encouraging people impulsively to spend an extra $1 or $2 and stuff like that. And that goes a long ways to increasing the franchise's bottom line. But that's just an example of how impulse will cause you to spend extra money that you weren't originally intending to spend. Mortgage or auto loan statements. Look at your mortgage. See where the finance rate is on that thing. If you got into it where your credit wasn't that good and the rate was a little high, talk to your banker. See what options you have. There's all kinds of options out there. Also, if you have an auto loan statement, look at your auto loan statement. If you can refinance that thing or pay off that thing, make extra payments on it to cut that balance down, to cut out some of that interest. These are all ways you can prepare to get that budget prepared, and then you can get your finances in balance. Check for that trial subscription that you may have clicked on. They offer you these things. Hey, 3 months free for this trial thing, and I used to do that, and I'm like, man, why would they want your credit card if it's a 3-month trial thing? Well, they're counting on you to forget about it, because at the end of that 3-month trial, they're going to charge you $15 a month, which sounds like nothing initially, but then over a course of a year, you got a couple $100 that you actually are paying someone. So it's all those little things that impact your financial bottom line. Find out who you owe, what you pay them, and how much you owe them. Meaning, so look at all the people. I got the bank statements down. Get your credit card statements and all your billing statements, and find out who you owe. Find out the interest rate, find out how much you owe, find out how much you're paying them, and make it a goal to work towards breaking some of that stuff down. Instead of going out and hanging out, at a steakhouse every weekend, take that $50 because it's going to cost you a 50 spot or maybe an 80 spot if you're taking a date, maybe even more. And take that money and put it on one of those bills and make a steak at home. You know what I'm saying? Grilled food, I believe, most of us consider ourselves pretty good cooks, right? Grilled food, to me, when it's cooked properly, tastes better than anything I can get from the restaurant. You got the pride of cooking it, and you cook it the way you want it. You don't have to worry about, hey, this is medium rare, and I told you I wanted it well done, and then it's got to go back and travel back and forth to the kitchen. You can make the you want it to start with, and then you have the perfect meal that you want. So that's just a few ways. You want to have access to any information about your income and expenses that you can find from all those sources that I mentioned. And one of the keys to the budget making process is to create a monthly average. How much do you spend on average? You bring in $2,000, but $1,500, just by example, is going back out the door. And that kind of spending habit with only $500 as a cushion shows that you're financially off balance. That the money that's actually coming in, you've already given it an assignment of something that is already paid, or a matter of fact, it has grabbed the attention of your income, and it demands that you give a portion of your income to take care of those things. So that is what's the key to having a sound and balanced budget. The more information you can dig up, the better. The more you look into your resources, finances, the better you can do it. Number 2, calculate your income. How much income can you expect each month? If your income is in the form of a regular paycheck, where taxes are automatically deducted, then using the net income or take-home pay amount is fine. You can count the gross, which is the most, but the net is what you get. So if you count the gross towards your budget, and then you're spending from the net, you're spending from the gross, you're going to be way off balance in your budget, because you're going to be counting on $3,000 a month when you only have $2,000 a month coming into the house that you have to allocate to those bills. So your take-home pay, understanding that and that difference is going to be go a long ways to help you out. Now, if you're self-employed, you have resources outside of the home or other income, then find out how you can increase that. And then if you have a business, you're going to have overhead and all of those things. So a lot of things to consider. Now, if you pay child support, if you're on the paying end, then that is a bill that won't go away for usually about 18 months, unless you really happen to talk to the mother of the child and y'all come to an agreement or something like that. And also another source of income is Social Security. So if you're above that age and you get Social Security, then that's called a fixed income, but you also have the ability to earn other wages. So record all your total monthly income and how much that comes in your house, and then you go from there. All of those things I mentioned before. Now, if you have a variable income, such as seasonal work, freelance work, consider using the income from your lowest earning month in the past year as a baseline income. Why? So you don't get caught up on the $5,000 month that you have all that money coming in, and you budget for that, when really, if you average it out, you're only getting $2,500 a month if you average it out. So if you base it lower on the $2,500 a month, and you happen to get the $5,000 income for several months, you can take that money, that extra money, and put that into a savings and help yourself out in the long run. All right, a lot of stuff, right? It's okay, just hang with me, hang with me. So create a list of monthly expenses. Write down a list of all the expenses you expect to have during a month period of time, or 31 or 30 day, or 28 in February's case, or 29 with a leap. 1 month period, whatever your particular month is, what you expect to earn or what you expect to pay off during a given month. Mortgage payments or rent, car payments, insurance. A note on insurance, right? If you have car insurance, look at some of the specifics in that. You can end up having $100,000 or $200,000 coverage for something that you can knock it down. There's different areas that they cover: liability, death and dismemberment, or injury to someone else who's in your car. You can adjust those amounts to an amount that's more budget friendly and knock off $50 sometimes to save you on those insurance payments. So that's another way to kind of shave off different money. Also, you can lower all of your specifics, uninsured motorist protection, all of those things. You can lower those things and increase your deductible. It may mean you have to come more out of pocket, but then that's a way you can save that money during every month and then put that money aside. That way, if you do have to have an incident where you have to pay the deductible, then you have that money in savings. So this is just different ways. Groceries. Buy groceries for meals that are going to last you for more than one day, shepherd's pie, some of the stuff I've eaten over the years that I have used to stretch out, my groceries. Chili or something like that. There's all spaghetti, all kinds of dishes that you can make, but that can stretch your dollars, right? Can really make your dollars stretch. So understand all that. Grocery is going to come every month. Utility bills. Adjust the thermostat. Dress warmly inside in the winter months. Put on a little more clothes until you go to bed as you're walking around, and just be comfortable. But I'm just giving you different ways. Entertainment. Do you have to eat out every month? Do you have to eat out every week? Do you have to eat out at the most expensive place? You find that a lot of times the same stuff that you can sit down and eat, for a plate that costs you $35, $40, you can take that $35, $40 and feed a family of four in some cases. Meatloaf, different things like that. Personal care. How much pampering do you need? Do you have a low maintenance haircut like me that, all you have to do is buy razors, every few months? Because most of the time the razors I use them, 2 or 3 times when I start feeling the dullness and starting seeing the nicks. And then one key sign is when I start getting hair bumps. Then I know that I've used that thing up to its life expectancy. So personal care, how much do you need to pay on your nails? How much do you need to pay on your shaves? How much do you need to pay on your socks and shoes? And how much do you need to pay to make yourself look and feel good? How much do you need? Just be mindful of that. Eating out, I mentioned that before. I like slow food instead of fast food. I do eat out occasionally, but I prefer slow food because to me, slow food lasts longer. Definitely if it's Chinese food. If you go out to eat Chinese food, by the time you get home, a lot of times I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, well, what did I just eat? But eating out, childcare. You can. I know some of these agencies. Back then, when my kids were little, it was a little less expensive. But now, wow, the prices that are out there now for childcare. Get a family member that you believe you can trust. Put them in after-school programs. There's all kinds of different ways that you can do to address a lot of these needs. Transportation costs. Do you ride the bus instead of owning, a Lexus or a Mercedes or any one of those things? How much does it cost you to go to work on a daily basis, the commute? Can you take a shorter cut? Can you take a shorter route? Can you go and bypass the traffic where you sit in traffic and waste gallons of gas just sitting there idling? Is there a shorter way? Is there a longer way that saves you gas because you don't sit there? What I do often when I travel to a place, and I know I'm going to go there repeatedly, I'll get 2 or 3 routes. Okay, see which one gives me the best traffic flow. See which one has like gas stations along the way. See which one is quicker. It may be longer in distance, but sometimes if you get on those expressways and you avoid all that traffic, then it's a lot quicker because you can maintain a constant speed and you're not burning as much fuel. So transportation costs. What does it cost you to operate your vehicle every month? Gas, oil changes, however many times you change your oil change, and budget that in there. Every 3 months, boom, schedule oil change, put some money in there, because the life of your vehicle is going to help you be able to not have to pay for expensive costs and stuff like that. What about travel? If you want to go on a vacation or whatever, or you already travel a lot, include all of that information. Student loans. Do you still have student loans to pay? Do you still have things that you owe? One of the things about becoming a college student, you'll find as you send your kids off and grandkids off to college, is that, man, the credit card companies are waiting to get them in debt. They stand there, they'll pretty much give you, all kinds of debt, But you have to be wise in that too, because there's going to come a day that stuff is going to be required. And most kids, they'll have that access during the college years, and then if you don't immediately get a job after college, then you got that mounting debt. Bill collectors calling you, I want my money now. So, and also savings. You can never go wrong with saving. Save as much as you can. Look, pay your tithes, okay? Because it doesn't belong to you anyway, right? Pay your bills and pay yourself. Some people pay their tithes, pay themselves, and pay their bills. Now, if you pay yourself too much, then you're going to have trouble with your bills and keeping up with your bills. So use your bank statements, receipts, credit card statements for the last 3 months to identify all your spending habits and determine fixed and variable expenses. What is this thing that's constant? What is this thing that's consistent? Got a question? No. What is this thing that I have to pay the same amount every month? That's easy, right? $300 for a car payment every month, consistent. It's easy to budget that. Those variable expenses, heating, oil, heating gas, oil for your vehicle, oil changes. Fuel is the big one. And it can fluctuate if you travel a lot, if you go around a lot, if you DoorDash, if you pick up people and take people different places. All those things make those things variable. I'm talking about you. So if you plan to save a fixed amount of or pay off a certain debt each month, also include savings and debt repayment as a fixed expense. Make it your habit to pay something regularly on one of those expenses that you have. Experts say, Dave Ramsey says, attack that small one first. If you owe a little, ankle biter, we call them, something that's, that always bothers your debt ratio, knock that thing out first. Pay $150, $50, $25 a month. Make an agreement. Call them and make an arrangement with them, and you'd be surprised how you can take care of those little things. An $80 two-person steak dinner versus a $80 two-person steak dinner. You could save that money and buy a $14 steak, or $28. You buy two of them. You've saved yourself $52, and you take that $52 and you can pay towards your debts, that $150 debt that you have that's just hanging around and ruining your credit. So variable expenses are type expenses that will change each month: groceries, gasoline, entertainment, eating out, gifts. You have control over all of this stuff now, except for the fact that, especially these variables, you have ultimate control over them. You have control over how much you eat. You have control over how much gas you spend. You have control over how much you entertain yourself, or you feel the need to be entertained. You have control over eating out, and you have control over the gifts that you buy. I'm all for gift giving, but planning, execution is always the best.
Amen.
If you don't have an emergency fund, include a category for surprise expenses. What's a surprise expense? Blown out tires that need replacing. It shouldn't be a surprise. You don't have to just look at the tires, and you can tell, or either go with a mechanic. They can tell you, hey, these things are only going to last about a few more months. Now in Arizona, a surprise expense is the batteries, man. I found out that in Arizona, your battery might last you a couple of years, and then you can expect to get a new battery. And when that first happened to me, it was like a brand new battery, and it lasted 2 years. And I'm like, what is this? They were like, well, this heat really drains batteries. So, you go back, especially if you're under warranty, they prorate it, give you another battery, and then in 2 years, I've seen it happen a couple of times. Since I've been out here, in the vehicles that I've had, I've been out here since 2014. That's at this point, only 8 years. I probably bought at least 6 or 7 batteries in that time period in different vehicles, yeah. Because, I just drive a lot and back and forth to work and all that stuff. So lots of expenses. Where did I start? So start assigning your money at spending value to each category. Begin with your fixed expenses, then estimate how much you will need to spend per month on a variable expense. And get that variable expense to be less variable, meaning projected, okay? I know Pastor Al mentioned the envelope experience. He said he would take his envelope, put a certain amount of money in there. When he got down to an empty envelope, no matter what happened, he wasn't spending anything, whether it was takeout or groceries or whatever. He wasn't spending any more money on that type of stuff. So that's one way to look at it. If you want to start doing that, there's all kind of ways to get creative with your finances. The biggest thing is you have to really focus and pay attention on your income and those recurring debts, those variable debts, and especially your otherwise spending habits, the way that you just say, okay, well, I got this money left, I want to go do this, I want to go do that. Watch out for those things. Those could be snares for you. If you're not sure about how much money you spend in each category, review the last month's statements. 2 or 3 months back is acceptable. Your credit card statements, your bank statements, and a lot of banks, you can categorize them. You can sort them out. You can find out how much you spend in a month, or you can find out how much you spent to, Golden Corral, or how much you spent to the Longhorn Steakhouse. You find those particular expenses, and you can find out exactly where your money has been eaten up. And then a lot of times, like I say, in those times you feel like you just have to go out and treat yourself. You're literally eating up your resources.
Wow.
So total all your monthly income and your expenses. If your income is higher than your expenses, you're off to a good start. If you got more money coming in than you're paying out the door, just going out to the creditors, you are in very good shape. However, if you got less money coming in than you got going out, you got a serious problem. Okay. The extra money, or we'll talk about the first case. The extra money means you can put funds away towards your budget and even your retirement plan and even paying off debt. So the excess money should be working for you. It shouldn't just be laying around. You got $100,000 in savings, but you owe everybody and their brother. That's just not good stewardship. So you got to have balance and all of that. If you have more income than expenses, consider the 50-30-20 budgeting philosophy. In a 50-30-20 budgeting philosophy, needs or essential expenses should be represented by half of your budget. Needs or essential expenses should represent half of your budget. Or your budget. Wants should make up the other 30%. So 50-30-20, 50% of it should go to the needs that you have. All those financial needs, all of those essentials, food, clothing, shelter, and your essential expenses, including those expenses I mentioned, and bills, credit cards, and all of that stuff. And then 30% of your budget should go to your wants. If you decide you just are the person you have to buy a new toothbrush every month, or new pair of socks, a new underwear, and all of that other stuff, put in that 30% category. But don't forget that 20% of it should be going towards savings and debt repayment. So if you calculate that 30-20, 30-50-30-20, you can have a means of being financially disciplined where you can take care of all of that stuff and you can get back on the right course. And lastly, I'm going to have to cut it off here because I got to go to my next class. So if your expenses are more than your income, that means you are overspending and need to make some changes. Listen, it's never too late to make changes, even when you're in a worse situation, because they should draw your attention that you got to start somewhere. So, Pastor Miles Cox, that's all for this week's Financial Makeover 2022. And next week, we're going to pick up where we're going to make adjustments to our expenses, God bless you all. Thank you for everybody that was joining. Stacy, Lee, Shannon, Dragon, and thank you guys. If you have tips, you can also leave your own tips, maybe some things that you have experienced that you found that have worked. But until next week, God bless you. Thank you for joining our Financial Makeover 2022. God bless you and have a good night.